Well, hi and welcome to the Drawing Machine video where we talk all things drawing machines. So here I've got a lovely iDraw A3 pen plotter. We'll be talking about that in a tick. But before, I just wanted to say quickly that lots of things can be drawing machines. I've seen people modify their 3D printers to hold a pen. It becomes a drawing machine. Here we've got a Cricut maker and it's got pens and then more pens and cutters and scorers and all sorts of things. So this is definitely a drawing machine. And also, all right, let's have a look at this. I've marked some pages in this amazing book called Tracing the Line. And we'll come back to this, I'm sure, at some point. So here we have a drawing machine that's basically wind powered. So this is showing you kind of what's going on with wind. Let's see what else we got here. This is a machine. It's on a drip and it's dripping pollen grains with bleach. So a bleaching pollen grain thing, plotter, awesome. Whatever the heck that is, it's a thing with wheels and it's doing something, that's a plotter. This cool thing, like a motorized skateboard that has an aerosol can on it that's spraying the wall. Robot arm, let's see, we've got another robot arm somewhere. I think here, yeah, another robot arm. That's a drawing machine. Let's keep going. Oh, hey, look, this is a little bit of foreshadowing. There's a scribe on a copper plate making a print. That is me. Here we got a fan. And again, whatever this is, an aerosol spray can spraying stuff. So there's lots of things that can be drawing machines. But in this series, we're mainly going to be concentrating on these two. The first is the Next Draw, and this used to be called the axidraw. I have both of these in the studio. I'm probably going to be using this one most of the time. And the other one is the iDraw, which is by Unitech. They come in all sorts of different sizes, and these are both great machines. And you may be wondering, well, will a machine like this do what I wanted to do? Well, hopefully that's what we're going to go find out. Let's have a quick overview and then we'll dive into the actual machines in just a moment. So a drawing machine is a bit like doing a dot-to-dot puzzle. So let's say we have this dot-to-dot puzzle here, and then we calculate, we work out the position of all the points that we want to join up on our dot-to-dot. So this one is 115 millimeters by 102 millimeters. This one 149 by 64. This one over on the right, 23.5 centimeters by 4.8 centimeters down. And we work out that for all of the points, and then we send those points to the drawing machine. That is essentially what we're doing here. And it kind of works pretty much like a normal printer in that you send files to it for it to print, but instead of sending Word documents or PDFs, you're sending it SVG files and G-code files, but we're going to cover that in a future video. Alrighty, so what works well in a pen plotter? Unsurprisingly, pens. We've got metallic pens, brush pens, Sharpies, fountain pens, glittery gel pens. They all work well, but I prefer the name drawing machine because that includes other things. So there's pencils, oil pastels, charcoal, graphite. I will say these are a lot harder to get working. So in this whole series of videos, we're mainly going to stick to pens, and we'll cover all this more in the pens video in a couple of videos time. But for the moment though, let's get on and actually look at the machines. Now, I think that there are three features about drawing machines that sort of make a difference, and I'll very briefly show you what they are, and then we'll dive into more detail and I'll say why I think they're important. The first is there are two different types of model. There's the L type that has a single runner down one side and then the arm, and then there's the H type that has a runner down both sides and an arm that goes across. The second feature is the arm moves in and out, and if the pen is fixed on the end, like this one, let me show you. Here we go, so it goes in now and the pen goes here. The other type is this goes backwards and forwards whilst the arm is fixed and the pen is going in here. So here the pen moves backwards and forwards. On this one, the whole arm moves backwards and forwards. And the third feature is this base, that some machines come with a base attached to them and some don't. But often you can attach a base to this one. On some of these, you can remove them from the base. Attached base, no base. Those are the three things. L, H, moving arm, fixed arm, no base, base, and they're often mix and match on different machines. Let's have a look at each feature in slightly more detail. So this runner here has grooves and then wheels that allow this to move backwards and forwards. Same again with this one, a groove, wheels, backwards and forwards. And that allows you to draw in this direction. And now we have a similar thing here. We've got a groove and a runner that allows this to move in and out with the pen at the end, whereas this one has got a groove and this moves from side to side. And that allows you to draw lines back and forth like this. And it's similar with these two smaller ones. This is an L model that goes back and forth, and then this arm goes in and out. And here, it's the H model, where this moves from side to side, around to round. And when you combine them together, you can start drawing shapes like this. Or the arm can move in and out while it goes from one side to the other, like this. And then you can start to mix and match them to have them do different shapes, a bit like this. I'm going to show you this because it is kind of important. Here's the Unitech idraw. This is where you plug it in. This is kind of a printer USB here, and then it's got the power over there. Let me grab the next draw. So with the next draw, power goes in here. It's got an on-off, and then it uses a micro USB thing here. I actually kind of hate these because I feel like I'm trashing it every time I connect the cable and disconnect the cable. It's in there. The reason why this is kind of important, and I'll show you, is this is the situation here that we've got the drawing machine here, we've got the cable, I've got an adapter here, it's plugged into my laptop, and although this wire is kind of long, you have to stay tethered to the machine. Generally, when you're drawing, when you're using the machine, you've got your stuff on there and it's sending it over to here. And if you disconnect, you shut your laptop down, this will stop. There's new models that are coming on which have adapters, or they've got SD cards or got Wi-Fi, and you can send the file straight to the drawing machine, and then the drawing machine keeps it on there and you don't have to have all these cables. Those are great. I'm looking forward to a world where that happens more and more. But be aware, if you have a drawing machine, you're going to be tethering your laptop, or do what I do and have an older sacrificial machine that you don't mind to connect to it. I've got a Mac Mini that generally connects to these things. So this is my old Mac Mini here that is connected to this machine, and this is my iMac that is generally connected to this machine here and another spare one here. This machine, the iFrame, actually has an SD card just down in there. Okay, let's talk about the pen holder ever so quickly. So this is the pen holder. It opens quite wide, and there's adapters that allow you to hold bigger pens or smaller pens. This machine here is just using a standard servo, and it's called a lift and drop. So it will lift the pen up and then just drop it onto the piece of paper. Let me show you with this one here. So it's just dropping the pen down and it draws under its own weight. This has a slightly stronger servo here. But what you can do is you can add a little bit of a spring here and then a stopper at the top. So that adds more downwards force. That actually pushes down. With some pens, it's much better to have a bit more downward force. These silver pens, for example, tend to work better with downward force. This is the mechanism on the iDraw. This controls the height And then it's also got a spring here, so it's got a little bit of give here. On the idraw, it has more downwards force, I find, than the next draw and the axidraw. The idraws tend to run faster than the next draws, and I think some of that is due to the fact that it has more downwards pressure here, so it can just draw a little bit quicker and be a little bit more reliable on that front. One more thing, you can also adjust the angle on these things, so this one goes this way. So if I put a fountain pen in, it's a little bit more like the angle you might hold a pen at if you're doing some writing. Again, there's various adapters you can get, but you're not just stuck with going straight up and down on these ones. You can actually angle them as well. And the final thing I want to show you is this one has no base. So if we just get rid of this here, you can see I can just put the paper down in here and tape it down. It has got holes here, so I can drill this onto a base if I want to have it fixed down on something. What I like about the no base is with this small one, is I could move it and then place it onto all sorts of different types of paper and surfaces, whilst with the idraw over here, you can't really do that, and you can't really make this any higher or lower over the base here. You're kind of fixed in place. Pros and cons, I'll get onto that in just a moment. That's kind of a whirlwind tour about drawing machines. It lifts the pen up, it lowers the pen down, moves the pen around. It's a pen plotter. But people often say, hey Dan, which one should I buy? Should I get an axidraw or should I get an idraw? Are they good? Are they fine? And yes, they're both fine. I have both of them. I use both of them. So this is my tier list, priority list of what you should do. First, you should build your own. If you can build your own, building your own is the best way to get involved in drawing machines. You have the most control. If, like me, you're rubbish at building your own or you just want to have one, then I would say buy a second-hand machine. That's probably the best thing you can do. And then third, depending on what's happening at the moment, buy whichever is the cheapest one to buy in your country to get them imported in. They're both great machines. People use both of them. You'll be able to use both of them absolutely fine for the whole of this course. There are a few differences that might change your mind on what you want to do. So let's dig in just a little bit deeper on that. The first is this, the H versus the L. Let me show you. If I have an H plotter like this one here, and I put it, say, in the corner of my room, or it's right against the table, this is the amount of space it's going to take up. This is an A3 one. It draws on here. It's going to take no more space than this. Meanwhile, this one, if I put this next to it, this is also an A3 plotter, where it doesn't have a fixed arm. So it's taking up the same space here, but when this moves back, it's now hanging off the back of the table by this amount. It's taking up pretty much twice the space. So if I want this on my table not crashing into a wall, it has to be there. So it's got this much clearance behind, and then it's got this much clearance at the front. If you have enough space, that's all right, but let me show you a more extreme version. So this is an A1 plotter. This is the Bantam Tools art frame, and obviously it's an H frame, it's fixed. It's on this is an A0 plan chest, and it's going to take up no more space than it's taking up. Meanwhile, over here, this is an A1 axidraw, and you can see it's taking up this space. It's on the same plan chest, but if I, hold on, slide this all the way here, you can see how far it's sticking out the back of the table. Oh my goodness. So you need, again, twice the room for one of these. So that's kind of consideration one, is how much space do you have? If you are just in a studio and you've got the place, then one of these machines, just fine. But if you're going to be in an art gallery or a shared space, or you have limited room, or there's going to be other people moving around, or any situation where you might bump into things, then having an H frame, a fixed frame, something like this, where only takes up the space it's going to take up, is probably a better idea. And while we're here, fixed base versus no fixed base. This is really good if you're a little bit more production line-y. So you're going to have a piece of paper. You're going to put it in, you're going to set the machine away, you're going to take it out, you're going to put the next one in, and you're going to keep on going. Or again, it's in a gallery situation. So if you kind of have like a factory line and you're only ever going to be drawing on something like this, then this is kind of good. But if you want to be able to draw on something even bigger, say you want to be able to move this and put it on a big sheet of paper or a large piece of card, then you can just drop this on top of whatever you want to plot on. So for example, this little small one here, I might move this around a much larger piece of paper. And the other thing about no base is this one's got a pen in it here, but this one here is up on these risers that's lifting it up even higher, and I could have even higher and higher ones. So I can put this on books or on bricks or something to lift this up. If I wanted to have a much longer object like a brush in there, I can keep raising this up, which is another good consideration. Whereas with this, you're kind of fixed for how much height you have between whatever you put in and the paper. And the last one, because I am really shallow and I have to apologize for this, but it is important to me. This one, I find the next draw is more photogenic. It's more videogenic. To me, it looks better in photos. It looks better in videos. When I have light coming in through the window, you have a lot better lighting with this. With this one, these tend to block the light. I know you can have these a little bit more open, but if you're thinking about doing videos or photos or in any way showing off the work through Instagram, that medium, and I find these next draws are better for that, which is why I'm going to be using one of these for most of the tutorial videos, because I think it looks better in video and I think it allows the light in. Let me check my notes. Okay, I think I've got everything. We've got the runner, we've got the arm, we've got the pen holder, we've got the servo, which I only talked about briefly. One thing I will say is if you get a machine with a servo, try to buy, shortly after getting it, a spare servo so you have one in your back pocket. If this wears out, it's always a pain in the ass waiting for them to come back into stock. To get one, having a spare is always good. We've done baseboards. But pretty much, yeah, just get one, whatever you can get your hands on, get one of those. I will say that if you are getting one and you have the space, I would start with an A3 one. I'm using an A4 for these tutorial videos because it fits on the desk better. And this is the next draw, 8511. I would go the next one up. When I've spoken to people who started with a small one, they've inevitably always wanted to move up to a larger pen plotter. So if you can, you might as well start at the A3, but you don't need to. The main thing though is not to feel anxious that you've somehow made the wrong choice. Lots of people use this machine, lots of people use this machine, and it's perfectly fine and it's perfectly good and you'll have an absolutely great time. A lot of it just comes down to what you do with it, and a lot of it is to do with the pens and the paper, which leads me nicely into the next video that will probably be over here-ish, if I've made it yet, which is all about pens and paper, and you'll definitely want to watch that because it's got a few shortcuts in it. All right, I'll probably see you in that video.